Oh Lord, from dusk till dawn. So we are going to be reviewing this one tonight, I should say. It's actually, for what it's worth, it is 2:45 in the morning. And earlier, late last night, we did a review of Funny Games, and none of us had seen it. And Gabe was like, "Dude, just trust me. Don't look anything up. Don't do any research. Just watch this movie." And then after we recorded the podcast for Funny Games, we were talking about what our next movie should be. I mentioned From Dusk Till Dawn, and Gabe said, "I've never seen that." And I was like, "Okay, don't look up anything. Don't look up a synopsis. We're watching it tonight." So Zach bailed. He didn't make it very long. We had started watching it, and he was like, "I'm too tired. I got to go home." So sorry, Zach. You're missing out. But we just finished it. It's late, we're tired, and we're going to do this. So, with all that being said, From Dusk Till Dawn, here we go. All right, Gabe.
Good evening, Jonathan.
Good evening it is.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so let's just go. Let's just do this. You ready?
Absolutely.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, holds
Unexpected.
up. Okay, good. Yes, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Dude, I got so worried because when we were first looking for this movie on Netflix, and there was like a Dusk Till Dawn TV show or something, and you saw something about vampires, it's probably because Netflix was showing other vampire shit, and you were like, "Oh, is this about vampires?" And I was like,
And then it clicked in my head the name
right.
From Dusk Till Dawn, and I was like, oh, it's got to be a vampire thing.
And I was like, fuck.
And as soon as the movie started, I was like, oh, this is not a vampire thing.
Yes, okay, good. I'm
Yeah.
so glad.
No, as soon as it started, I was like, oh, yeah, this is clearly not a vampire thing.
Dude, okay, that's what's so great about it.
Yeah.
Is okay, mine was Holds Up because when I first watched this when I was like maybe 12,
Okay.
and it was like my parents had a really extensive like VCR collection. I mean, like shelves and shelves and shelves of tapes and DVDs, but it was mostly tapes. And From Dusk Till Dawn was there. And like I was an only child. My parents worked a lot, so I just kind of I watched a lot of movies when I was a kid, and I would just go through the VCRs and just throw them in. And I threw this in, and I was like, "Oh, cool, whatever." Like I had no idea what it was about, and I was shocked. I mean, I was like, "This is a good movie." Like I was into the first half.
Oh, yeah.
And then
This is a movie of two halves, let me tell you.
Dude. Yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, well, I've already said vampires. Sorry. Well, it's a movie of two halves. You said it well.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow.
But it holds up. I loved it then. I love it now.
Yeah,
It's
that was great for the record.
Okay, good. I'm
Enjoyed it very thoroughly.
I'm very happy to hear you say that.
Yeah. Every part of that was great. I mean, when did that come out? 95, like mid-90s?
Let's look that up because it might have been mid-90s.
Was it directed by Tarantino or just screenplay?
I don't think so. I don't think Tarantino, he might have had, I'll look this up because I want to say he maybe helped produce it or something, but
I know he wrote the screenplay.
Oh, he did. Okay. So it came out motherfucker 1996.
96.
Director was Robert Rodriguez.
Okay.
What else has he done? Let me look it up. It'll probably tell me right now. From Dusk Till Dawn, Rodriguez. IMDb. Well, yeah, directed by him. He did. Oh God, I'm too tired to fucking. Okay, known for El Mariachi, Planet Terror, Spy Kids.
Oh, that is the guy that did Spy Kids.
Grindhouse. Okay, that holds up. That makes sense. The Book of Boba Fett. Oh, how weird.
Weird.
Yeah. The Mandalorian. Yeah. Okay. Well, he's done a lot. But yeah, Tarantino, I thought he was really good in this movie. I'll say that this is, I think, my favorite George Clooney movie.
So I was thinking the whole time while I was watching it, and this has never really occurred to me before, because obviously, I've seen, if you've watched movies in the past 20 years, you've seen George Clooney
Sure,
in a ton
yeah.
of movies. But I never really, I don't think I've ever liked him in any movie. Like, he's great. He's not a bad actor in any way.
Yeah.
He's a good actor. But I don't think I've ever seen a movie where I was like, oh, well, actually, Ocean's 11.
Yeah, he's good in Ocean's 11,
I
but
like him in Ocean's 11.
he's George Clooney.
Right.
Like, in every movie, he's George Clooney. He plays a good George Clooney.
Yeah.
And even in this movie, he's like George Clooney, but I really enjoyed him in it.
Yeah.
Like, well, even when so Adrian and I did a podcast on Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Mm-hmm.
And he made the comment of, like, George Clooney killed it. And I was like, and it was when we were doing that podcast that I was like, I guess he did, but he just did he's George Clooney.
Sure.
And George Clooney can be very enjoyable. I have no problem with him. But of every George Clooney movie, which there are a lot, I really think this is my favorite.
Definitely. As far as George Clooney is concerned.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome. Tarantino was,
He did great. He was creepy.
Yeah.
He, like, really, like, when you referenced in Funny Games about how, like, when a movie can make you feel a certain way, like there were certain scenes with Tarantino specifically that made me feel a certain way, like him just being really creepy toward women.
I kind of feel like he was just playing himself.
He may have been. Yeah, although he's a pretty wacky dude. He's
yeah.
Well, yeah, he's wacky in this
right.
too. Fair enough.
Right.
So okay. So what this movie, God, it holds up so well. I'm so glad that it does too. You're the second person, by the way, who I've gotten to see this with no context.
Okay.
I think I got Boomer to watch this maybe back in, I don't know, 2011.
Yeah, I'd heard the name of the movie, but I had no idea. Like,
I'm so happy to hear that.
No clue. Like, I was fully on board. Like, oh, it's two bank robbers. This is going to be their story. Like, I mean, hook, line, and sinker.
I couldn't tell what your reaction was going to be to, like, when the vampire shit started. I just started smiling. I was like, oh my God, yes. And so you were totally caught off guard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, didn't see it coming for a second. I mean, other than
when her head turns to like,
yeah,
dude.
I was like, oh, I guess it is a vampire movie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was great. It's so hard. I know that you'd seen it before. For me, just coming off having seen it for the first time again, and I'm going to stop saying this, but this will be the last time I say it, knowing nothing about it, it's really difficult to figure out what to say about it, primarily because, like, I was gathering thoughts in the first half of the movie about things that I wanted to talk about, and now, why would I talk about those things?
So what's cool about this movie, though, I think, is that the first half is worth talking about because it's actually really good. Like, I was invested in if they hadn't done the vampire thing at the end, I would have been still invested in the story of what are these guys going to do.
Like, if they just finished that movie,
yeah,
I would have liked the movie.
Yeah.
However they did it.
And the fact that they had the balls to take a good movie, like, it wasn't like a horror movie where the first part leading up to it, it's kind of like bullshit. Flowery and bullshit. And then when the killing starts, you're like, oh, cool, here's what I really signed up for. Like, no, I signed up for what was a good story. A well-written and well-articulated, good, like, captivating story with good acting and all these different angles where they're running from the cops, the FBI. You have Tarantino, who's like this serial killing rapist weirdo, and then their dynamic between each other was really weird. And then you had the family whose dad's wife died and he's coming back. He left the ministry, and like there's all these moving parts that I was invested in.
Yeah.
And then to have the balls to go, never mind, we're going to go Evil Dead-esque with practical effects, vampire slaying, guts everywhere, explosions,
for like
fire,
an hour.
For a long time.
Yeah.
To completely throw that away and to do this, I respect the fuck out of it.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, this is what I think happened. I think Quentin Tarantino, 3 years after writing and directing Reservoir Dogs, got halfway through a movie, like Reservoir Dogs 2.
Okay.
Because that's what this is. I mean, it's Reservoir Dogs 2.
Yeah.
And went, fuck, I'm tired. And then somebody coked up at a party said, dude, you know what you need to do? And then he did that thing.
Yeah, and we've done no research on this, so we have no idea. I mean,
that is what happened.
We can look. Yes, you can take that to the bank.
Yeah,
that's for sure
what happened.
I mean, I'm happy to look things up as we discuss. We can look up whatever we can. But I, as you were saying that, I had this vision of like there being like a writer's room, and there being like a decision by committee or like a vote, where someone like they were writing it and they were like, oh, how do we end it? Where do we go from here? And someone went, how about we just end it with vampires? And everyone's like, fuck. And they voted and somehow vampires passed. And they were like, are we seriously going to do this? Yeah. Oh my God. Seriously? And they just did it.
Because that is like in so many. Look, hats off if that's not what happened. If what actually happened is he sat down and said, I'm going to write this movie. Wow. I mean,
amazing.
Wow.
But so Tarantino wrote it? When you say he wrote the screenplay, does that mean he wrote like the movie?
Yeah, he did the screenplay,
really sure
actually. I'm not 100%
exactly
sure if he actually literally, I mean, since it wasn't a book, I'm assuming he like actually wrote it, but I'm actually, let's see. Dusk Till Dawn writer. Yeah, Tarantino. I mean, yeah, if you write a screenplay, like that's writing it.
Okay.
Unless you're adapting, like if you were adapting a book and you just wrote the screenplay, you wouldn't be considered like the author of the story, I guess. But if you write a screenplay for a non-existent previous to that story, you wrote it.
Yeah. So here's the initial Wikipedia article, if you want to know.
Okay, yeah.
The film was released on January 17th, 1996. It received mixed reviews from critics who described the film as well-made, if overly violent. Okay. After enjoying financial success at the box office, so it did well. From Dusk Till Dawn has since become a cult film, of course, and spawned a media franchise of sequel films, video games, and other media adaptations, which I'm not very familiar with those. But I mean, how do you forget this movie? Especially like when I saw it, I had no idea what was going to happen. Yeah. So I was I am so like. I almost want to put a part in the beginning of this podcast that just says, if you haven't seen this, please go watch it with no context. If you know nothing about it, go watch it, because that experience, I think, is so amazing. For like, I wonder what the previews were like for this movie. I hope that there was no vampires.
Yeah, we should have looked up a trailer.
Yeah, like I hope to God
there's no way they put vampires in the trailer.
Oh my God, dude, I hope not. If they did, they blew it. Like if you imagine going and paying $10, going, oh, this looks like a really cool new Tarantino film, and then
no, this is going to be legit. This is the guy that did Reservoir Dogs. Like you're saying that in 95, 96, whatever. Yeah. And then you go see this fucking movie, and you're like, oh yeah, Kill Bill hasn't come out yet.
So it says on the reception, Rotten Tomatoes 62%, which okay.
People are stupid.
Yeah, with an average rating of 5.99 out of 10. Okay, give it a 6. Don't say 5.99 out of 10. Give it a 6 at least. The website's critical consensus reads, a pulpy crime drama vampire film hybrid. Okay, yada yada, an enjoyable B movie. Metacritic average score of 48 out of 100. Dude, I don't know.
No. Here's the deal.
This is not right.
I said this last podcast, the one that we did a couple hours ago. People that review movies are idiots.
That's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
We're included.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, well, okay, I guess I get it. I mean, I guess if you're putting it up against the best movies ever created, I mean, it's all subjective, but like,
it's not a 5.
No, it's not a 5. Fuck no, that's not a 5.
If that's a 5, what's a 1?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's like, if that's a 5, I don't know. I just
like a 10-hour video of your grandmother shitting. Like, what's a 1?
Okay, if you go to the movies to be, we did talk about this last podcast too, which apparently is not always the case, but if a part of your equation of watching a movie is to be entertained, to have something to talk about with your friends afterwards, to be surprised, to have plot twists and roller coasters. Like, dude, this checks every single box. This is This is a movie everyone should watch with their friends. Friday night, get the popcorn, have a party, watch Dusk Till Dawn, especially if you know people. I mean, seriously, I challenge everyone out there in the world to gather friends who have no idea what this movie is about and just make them watch it and just enjoy the show.
Yeah. Highly worth it. I feel like low ratings for this movie would be from people that are salty.
Because they wanted to see how the first half ended?
Yeah, they're just bummed about that.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay. I mean, I get that. Like, when it first happened, I was like, after the initial shock of like, what wore off, I kind of got a little bit of that. I was like, oh, yeah. But, it is just good. Honestly, the funniest part of the movie, which is saying a lot, is I wasn't sure, and it makes sense. The second half makes the first half make a lot more sense. I wasn't 100% sure if the first half was supposed to be funny. Obviously it is, given the second half.
Yeah.
But like, I was watching the first half and I was like, is this a comedy? I'm not 100% if like, because sometimes I'll think pretty wild shit is funny. So I was like, am I supposed to not be laughing right now? Is this supposed to be like,
right.
Oh, these people are crazy. Like, but so whatever. But the funniest part to me was when, I'm not going to remember the character's name. What was the actor's name?
The dad, the son, the brother, the main guy.
No, the guy that wasn't Sex Machine, the random black guy that was in the book.
Oh yes,
that you thought was Danny Glover.
Yeah. Okay.
The
Nom speech,
bro. When he says "nom," I just lost it.
Dude, what a wonderful time to put it. Like, what's amazing about that is it started out as this very unique story that was different. It had its own flavor to it. It was like interesting. And then they went into like every single cliche of like horror movies or like epic battles, down to the Nom guy who had to tell his Nom story. Yeah. Who, when you went, you think this is bad. Try laying in a ditch with the corpses of your best friends rotting beside you. I was a Nom.
It's just so funny. That actor's name is Fred Williamson.
Okay, yeah. I really was like confused.
Like, you were like, it's Danny Glover. I was like, dude, that ain't Danny Glover, man.
You did call Danny Trejo being in it. I don't know if you saw his name in the credits, but you were like, I feel like this is a movie that Danny Trejo.
As soon as they pulled up to the
titty twister,
I couldn't remember his name, but I was like, dude, that Mexican guy is gonna be in it, right? And you were like, Danny Trejo? I was like, yeah, he's for sure.
And as soon as they walk in, he's the bartender.
I hope he is Mexican, because if he's not, I feel bad about that. But
oh yeah, Danny Trejo is.
I'm pretty sure he's
for sure.
Literally Mexican.
Yeah, I think he is.
Nope.
What is he?
American.
Well, I mean, like, is he?
I mean, he's from Los Angeles, so his heritage is probably
good chance he's got some Mexican.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. So, okay, one critique I had of it, and maybe this was just my TV or like Amazon,
the volume.
Or something. Yeah, what was up with that? There was is that sound design? Is that mixing? Is that a mastering thing? Because it was like
it could be. But I noticed a similar thing, and I mentioned it when we were watching Funny Games. And that might have been because I said the sound mixing was off, and it could have been on that movie.
It might have been the TV,
but it could have been either the TV or the streaming platform.
Because the speakers are just the TV speakers or the streaming. Yeah, it could be the streaming platform. But I felt bad because Megan was asleep because it's like I don't know 3 a.m. and we were watching it, and like during the dialogue I had to crank it up because it was really quiet. Yeah. And my hearing's kind of bad. So was it quiet for you too?
Yes.
Okay. So
you were doing good on the volume though. Like,
thank you.
You were on it. Yeah.
Because, I had to crank it up for the dialogue, but then as soon as the music kicked in, it was like I was at a fucking rock concert.
Anything happened, you had to
slam it down. Yeah. So that was pretty annoying, actually. It was distracting a little bit, but I mean, I guess it's just like, I I love the first half of this movie so much.
Yeah.
And I think if it was any less ridiculous, I would have been bummed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you're gonna do it, you got to commit
all the way.
Because I really was interested in the first half.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, the acting was really good.
Oh, and they committed all the way,
dude.
They didn't hold or pull any punches.
I mean, even the way that they shot it was brilliant. Like the way that they captured the tension that they were dealing with, and even like when they were at the bar initially, and like Salma Hayek dancing and that long scene of her dancing, like
yeah,
they
that
just
was a long scene.
it was really long.
Yeah,
but like it was choreographed really well, and like even with her like making him drink off of her foot and everything, like there was just
that's a Tarantino thing.
That's definitely a Tarantino thing. A lot of feet in this movie.
He's a foot person.
Yeah, I've heard about that about him. But yeah, it was just the first half was done so well that I think any less commitment would have made it obnoxious. I would have been like, you guys, seriously, you had a good thing going. But because it was so outlandish, you just kind of had to just lean into it.
Something that did occur to me while I was watching the movie is there was 100% a point in history where Salma Hayek was the most attractive person on the planet.
She was gorgeous.
And it was sometime in late 1995.
Yeah, 1995, 1996. I mean, very, very beautiful, beautiful woman.
Wild.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, dude. It's like, it's hard to, like, this movie, kind of like Funny Games, actually, where it's almost hard to dissect certain pieces of it because it's just, I'm kind of in shock from the experience of it.
Yeah.
That I just go, what else do I say other than dude?
Right.
What?
Yeah, really, because like I said this, a couple minutes ago, but like trying to think about all the things that I was thinking about in the first half of the movie seems like, well, why would I even talk about those now? It did occur to me, and this might be worth saying, but for whatever reason, while watching it, I just kept thinking like both Clooney and Tarantino's characters, I just feel like they would be really fun characters to act.
Yeah.
Like they both just seemed like, especially Clooney's, they just seemed like it just seemed like a blast of a character to get to play.
Dude, I mean, yeah, it was, the dialogue was great. The relationship between those two was really, really good. And it like, I mean, I guess I don't know this for sure, but it seemed like they were just had good chemistry and had fun doing it. Like it's kind of, there's certain things that, I don't know, you pick up on that from certain performances, I guess, and maybe they're just really good actors and they fucking hate each other, but it looked fun. And one thing that did kind of bother me, this is strange, but the amount that he would cock and decock his gun really bothered me, because that's what you do when you're a kid and you're playing with a toy gun.
Yeah.
Is you constantly like cock it and turn it and kind of move it around, and you like pull the hammer back and you constantly like fuck with it. And the way that he was doing that, I was like, okay, if you were actually, using it in a real scenario, you would just have it like loaded. You would just have it cocked. It would just be ready to go. And then, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Or for that, you wouldn't need to cock it to pull the trigger. It's just that first pull is going to be a little harder. Yeah. So, but you wouldn't need to continue. Or I guess, yeah.
Yeah. As long as it's double action.
Oh, yeah.
If it's single action, which it wasn't.
Yeah. But like he just could, like that. I was like, oh my God, dude, come on. Like I can tell that you don't use guns. Yeah. Like that was really obvious.
Yeah. The thing that, and that will bother me sometimes in movies for whatever reason, I didn't notice it in this one. The thing that gets me in movies.
I mean, I'm splitting hairs here, but that was one thing. I did notice it at least.
This was a thing that got to me in this movie, is that, and this is like every movie ever, unless they need the character to be drunk for some reason, all people in movies like this, or kind of movies in general, can slam a bottle of Jack Daniels and be sober.
Yeah, it'd be perfectly fine.
Which is not my experience.
Yeah, he drank a lot.
A lot.
He drank a lot. He would have been just stumbling.
Bro, alcohol poisoning.
Perfectly clear. Very articulate. Mm-hmm. Very well spoken.
Cogent,
for
sure.
Well, good. I thought back, so I didn't catch this when I first watched it, or the second time I watched it, and I hadn't seen this movie in like almost a decade.
Hell yeah.
So I'm just so glad it held up. Oh, I'm so glad. The last time I saw it was when I showed Boomer, and he had no idea what he was getting into,
Cool.
and he was like, "What is happening?" But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I didn't think of this, but now after having watched The Evil Dead, and how much I appreciated the practical effects in that, I caught that this time around.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's also a part of them leaning into the ridiculousness of where they took it. Is like you had to like literally have green ooze, spewing out of the skulls of the vampires that they're stabbing.
Yeah, the effects were amazing.
They were great.
Yeah. Very Evil Dead-esque.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
And so watching it this time through, I appreciated that more. I think having that in context, and especially having like broken down The Evil Dead to talk about why the practical effects are really cool.
Yeah.
Because anything too much, like it would have taken away from, it would have been distracting, and it would have taken away from what they were trying to do if they tried to really go heavy CGI or whatever.
Yeah.
So having done that with Evil Dead, it gave me a different appreciation for this, which I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was that was great.
How about the guitar?
Dude.
The body guitar. I mean, that was just another example of them leaning into it so heavily. Like,
yeah.
How fun would that have been? To just go, okay, let's have him playing the guitar that's actually like half of a corpse. You know what I mean?
And when they're just like, fuck you, good night. Just
and explode. Yeah.
It's like, okay.
And it was this, did you catch this? The same guy that was his buddy was the same guy that was like out in front of the titty twister in the beginning. The guy who's like talking about all the pussy that they have.
Uh-huh.
And who they punch when they get in.
Yeah.
That guy is the same guy that was like his friend that came and gave him the car at the end. The same actor.
No.
Yeah. I'm like...
No.
Oh, well, now I'm like 99%
sure. 0%.
No, for sure. For sure. Okay.
No. No.
Cast of Dusk.
Carlos was not that guy. Because Carlos was Homeboy.
Carlos was who?
Carlos.
Okay. Cheech. Okay. Oh, wait.
Cheech was the border agent.
Oh, wow. Good.
He might have played more than one. He might have been the guy at the door.
Was he?
He might have been.
So Cheech in fucking A. Okay. I'm having a hard time Googling things. Cheech. Okay, from Dusk Till Dawn. Oh, fucking A. I'm pretty sure he played a couple of different characters. It said bodyguard and fucking
okay, so Carlos was Cheech.
That was his friend.
Who was also the border guard.
The guy who came on the van? Or on
yes.
Okay. Oh, weird.
Was he also the guy out front?
Yeah, I think he was.
Dude, no way.
Yeah.
Does that character have a name?
It was Carlos, well, at least early, the bar bouncer guy. Play in Dusk. Are you looking it up? Sorry, guys.
I'm not sure how many roles he'd be credited with.
Okay, yeah, check it out. From Dusk Till Dawn, Cheech Marin played Chet Pussy, Border Guard, and Carlos.
There you go.
Like, yeah. I wonder why they did that.
Super wrong. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. At that point, why not?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
That is, look, let me tell you something. The fact that Cheech plays 3 different characters and they don't change his appearance other than his outfit, really, the whole time, is the least ridiculous thing about this movie.
Yeah, dude. It really is.
That shit is something else, man.
And honestly, like, I mean, I don't know. I guess we've already touched on this, but the acting was legitimately good.
Yep.
Legitimately good acting. I mean, and once you get to, like, them fighting vampires, I don't know if you really need to be that good. I mean, they still were good throughout that, but, you know, at a certain point when you're just, like, screaming and yelling and, you know, stabbing vampires with stakes, like, cool, whatever. But kind of going back to that first half of the movie, they did such a good job with it. I can't think of another movie that does this.
Does what?
Just that dramatic of a switch and pulls it off that well. I mean, didn't finish this movie, but The Babysitter was kind of like that for me.
Sure.
And I don't know why I didn't finish that movie.
Cabin in the Woods, kind of, man, but you kind of know the whole time what's going on.
Yeah, when I saw Babysitter, although I didn't finish it, I had no idea what I was like. Nolan was like, dude, you got to watch it. It was kind of like this. And I watched it, and then as soon as the killing started, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then for some reason I couldn't finish it. But that's what comes to mind. But I think they did it well, at least from what I saw. But no, it's the best.
Yeah, but by far no movie comes close to the whole you have an actually legitimately good movie that you just end in the middle and start a new one. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That I've never seen a movie that does it to that extent at all. Because even The Babysitter, I mean, that's a decent analogy, but that movie is obviously the whole point is what starts happening.
Yeah.
Like you would not say, oh, if what happened in the middle of The Babysitter never happened, I would have loved to see the end of that movie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, no,
it's true.
There's nothing other than that. Like the whole movie is for that. This one is just not that. I really and seriously praise Quentin Tarantino if this is not what happened because you're the GOAT, but I swear he was writing a sequel to Reservoir Dogs, got halfway through and got tired. Like I just couldn't see a human being putting that much effort into the beginning of this movie.
Now would you be
I would be shocked to find out that that's not what happened.
Would you like it better if he just purposely did all of that? Like,
oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think that he did. I mean, that's got to be it.
I mean, that to me would make it probably twice as good in my head.
What else has he acted in? I mean, I know he's had parts in other movies, but
I don't know what movies.
I don't think he's had a major
large parts in.
Because he had a major role in this movie, and he did a really good job.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just like, oh, cool, it was Quentin Tarantino. Like, he did a good enough job that I was just invested in his character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I know he's had parts in other movies.
Yeah.
Some of his movies.
I'm looking it up, and yeah, it just has like every movie. Because I think he like has cameos. He's like in every movie. Yeah. But I couldn't.
I can't think of another one that he's had this big of a role.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean, I'm sure he has because, I mean, having not seen this movie, I knew that Quentin Tarantino was an actor. Like, obviously he's a director, but I knew that, he's had roles in films.
Sure,
so I know that there's more than just this, but I couldn't tell you what they are.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the biggest role I've personally seen him in, but he did a great fucking job, man. Really, really good job. I mean, I guess he just knows film well enough. I mean, I'm sure obviously he can act, but yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm so happy that you enjoyed it as much as you did. And I figured that you would. I mean, there are times where, like, because you're kind of a tough, like, read sometimes. I'm like, would he like this? But this one, I was like, no, you're going to like it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I'm glad I did. Because if this had been another Spinal Tap, I would have.
You did not like Spinal Tap
tonight.
Yeah, and being late. I mean, I was confident enough that I knew that the wait would be worth it.
I was confident in your confidence.
Okay, good.
If that makes sense. I was like, no, he's real confident. I'm gonna like this movie.
And I think if I hadn't, this wouldn't have happened because what happened is that after we did the last podcast, it was, I don't know, 11 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
And then we had to take Caroline back home, which was, I don't know, 35-minute drive each way.
Yeah.
And then came back, got everything set up, didn't start the movie till, I don't know, 1 a.m. or something. And Zach left. Fucking Zach,
dude.
He's just classic.
It is just so classic.
Zach was like...
sick move.
If anytime... So Zach's the kind of guy that if he says, I could be down, that means that he's not.
He's not down.
Like if you say, hey, dude, you want to do this? Oh, I could be down. Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
No.
Like he's not going to commit.
That's a fuck no from Zach Hansen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, he's not going to commit.
No.
If he commits, that's...
And to be fair, he did commit.
He did. He said, okay.
And when I say that, I don't mean like, oh, he backed out on this promise he made. No. What I mean is he went through the act. He could have left after the podcast. And he was like, no, I'll do it. He came with us to take Caroline home. We drove all the way back here, get the movie started. 10 minutes into the movie, he's like, I'm out of here.
And I had a feeling, because I want to say it was maybe on the drive back, he planted the seed. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. I might be remembering this wrong. But I'm pretty sure he said something to the effect of, man, I don't know, guys, I'm pretty tired, like, I hope I can get through this. He might have said something kind of like,
there you go.
where he didn't fully decommit. He wasn't going to out loud say, hey, guys, you know what? I'm not feeling up to it. I'm just going to let y'all do this. I'll be out.
Yeah.
It was, he planted the seed, and then I saw him on his phone, kind of like shit, and then he was like, I'm not feeling well, guys. I'm like, I'm just feeling kind of sick. I would stay,
Dude,
but...
that's the Zach Hansen move. He's feeling sick.
Zach.
It's like, man, you can just say you want to go home. You don't have to be sick every time you leave somewhere. Matter of fact, you don't have to say shit. I do it all the time. You leave. It's easy as fuck. Your friends don't care. They love you anyway.
Yeah.
It's wild. And for anyone that's listening to this, Adrian, thinking, damn, I can't believe they're shitting on this guy and he's not even here. We told him that we were going to shit on him.
Yeah, we did. As he was leaving, we were like, well, we're going to destroy your character on the podcast. I think I said exactly that, actually. And he was like, okay.
Yeah, so he knows what's up.
So, yeah, but he had seen it before. If he hadn't seen the movie, I would have, like, if you had tried that, I think I would have been, like, I get it's late, dude, but trust me, just stick with it. But once it started, I was confident because the first half's good enough that I was like, no, that's gonna suck him in.
Honestly, after the first scene, I was like, all right.
Yeah, the first scene was great with the cop and the. I mean, it throws you right into it.
Yep.
There's no and good on them too for that, because it kind of does the same thing that we have praised other movies for doing. Where they throw you right in the middle.
Yeah.
I always love when movies do that. I love when movies don't assume the audience is dumb.
Right.
And you get, like, the news lady talks about what they did, but you didn't really get the whole, like, what they were like when they were kids, where they came from, this long, drawn-out story, yada, yada. We've been over this, but I have become increasingly appreciative of directors and writers who assume that the audience they're not dumb. They'll piece together everything contextually as you go with good dialogue and good direction.
Yeah.
And they did that.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, the first scene was really good.
Catching the guy on fire right away.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
And somehow too, like, even though that was such a crazy scene, when they caught this guy on fire and then shot him a million times, and it was like they blew up the gas station, like, that was a very, like, high octane action scene. But that didn't make me think of this as like an action movie.
No.
Like, the more that after that, when they were in the hotel and they were doing the thing, it just became this really interesting story. Somehow that just didn't, I would totally look past that. It just fit. It worked. Whatever they did, it fucking worked.
Yeah, I think it was the dialogue. I mean, that's like Tarantino's thing. Like,
that is Tarantino. Tarantino's a dialogue machine, dude.
4-hour movies that are exclusively dialogue.
Fucking A, it's good. I mean, dude, it's, okay.
Which, by the way, just to say out loud, is the most difficult thing to do in all of filmmaking, period.
It's to write interesting dialogue.
Yeah, to write good, compelling dialogue.
Yeah, and to direct it and to be able to have that kind of a vision and to pull it off like that. Like, what kind of director do you have to be? Because you think, like, I think I appreciate directors a lot. Like, because I don't see them on screen.
Right.
Like, when you see the credits, you go, oh, this person played that character. He did good. But when I see the director, it's just kind of almost this nebulous, like, oh, yeah, they were involved. But, like, when you really think about it, like, they're there every single shot. They're literally directing them what to do. And they have this vision in their head. Like, think if you had a vision, if anyone's ever been in the shower and thought, oh, that would be a cool movie scene, I don't know, whatever. But to actually pull it off with how you shoot it, how you score it, and how the actors act it, getting them to feel and talk a certain way, like, yeah, he's the fucking man.
Yeah.
Because you can tell in any Tarantino movie, you go to wherever he was. Like, it's such a unique flavor of movie and speaking, like, Yeah, and of all of his movies, somehow after watching this movie, I'm like, and he didn't even direct it, but I'm like really appreciating Tarantino. Maybe I should appreciate whoever directed it too for that reason.
Yeah, that's a good point because I mean, I usually only think about the director if something, especially if I'm like during the course of watching a movie, I'll only think about the director if something was really bad
Mm.
and it's clear that it was like a
Like, how did you not do another take?
choice.
Yeah.
Or if something was really good and it's clear that it was a director's choice. Those are really the only two times that I'll think about it. And I'm about to quote a guy who was quoting a guy who was quoting another guy.
Okay.
But in the movie Jobs,
I have not seen that.
yeah.
Yeah. Who's in that, by the way? Is that Ashton Kutcher?
Okay, so there were two movies made about Steve Jobs.
Okay.
One of which Ashton Kutcher plays Steve Jobs.
Wow.
And actually bears a very striking resemblance to young Steve Jobs.
Oh, weird.
It's kind of uncanny. It's a little strange.
All right.
That movie's pretty bad.
Okay.
I don't remember what it's called. And then there's a movie, I think, called Jobs. I hope I'm not mixing up the names. Don't remember who plays Steve Jobs. That movie's more recent and is much better.
Okay.
In my opinion. But, people that review movies are idiots, so I don't know anything.
Quote.
The quote,
yeah.
Steve Jobs is arguing with Steve Wozniak, and Wozniak's like, "You're not even an engineer. What do you do?" And so Steve Jobs quotes somebody, I don't know who, but the quote is about like what a conductor does. Like you have all these people in an orchestra,
Yeah.
and they're all playing their instruments. What does the conductor do? And the guy said he was a conductor. He said, "I play the orchestra."
Okay.
So I think about directors like that.
That's cool.
It's like there's all these pieces that have to come together for a movie to exist, and a director couldn't. I mean, with exceptions, they're obviously Tarantino can act and write, and but he is. I think most directors are not as talented as Quentin Tarantino. I'll say that. Yeah. I don't think that's a controversial statement.
No, for sure. I mean, just going back to I can't think of
maybe not as multi-talented, I should say.
I can't think of another director. At least, there's obviously a lot of wonderful directors out there who have really made a name for themselves. But there's no other director that I can think of who, when I watch a movie, if you didn't tell me that Tarantino was involved in any way, okay, let me reword this. If I saw a movie and didn't know that he was involved in any way, and he was, I would guess that he was involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there are guitar players that are like that.
Right,
there are certain, you know what I mean? There's certain,
like Jack White.
Yeah, Jack White.
You know that it's Jack White.
There's certain tones like
Hendrix.
Hendrix. Stevie Ray Vaughan is a really unique one for me. For some reason, as soon as I hear his guitar, he's up on my wall. Yeah. But as soon as I hear him play, I know that it's him.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bands and just whatever. But Tarantino
that's a good
is
point. Yeah, it's
you know what I mean. It's just so
obvious.
unique. Like I think back to in Inglourious Bastards.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not one of my favorite Tarantino movies. I think I enjoyed it, but it doesn't rank in the top, I don't know, 3
I just
or whatever.
love Christoph Waltz
Yes.
so much that I just don't care.
Yes.
Put him on a piece of dog shit, which they did in Spectre.
Oh, yeah.
And I was still like, yeah, this movie's trash, but at least Christoph Waltz is in it.
So that opening scene of Inglourious Bastards, when he's walking through the house and he's looking for the people hiding or whatever, that whole scene... I mean, there's so many scenes you could pull and say that's Tarantino, but just that, I don't know. I already made this point, but I can't imagine how difficult it would be to have a vision and to be able to communicate that and direct that into reality from everything, from every aspect of the movie. It works and it comes to life. I don't know how much. I'd be curious to hear some interviews with him now, just to see how much does
He's
a director...
a weirdo.
I know that from what I've seen, I know he definitely is a weirdo, and I wonder how much.
He's weird in interviews.
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah.
He sounds very like quirky and like kind of strange.
And I'm not saying being
sense.
a weirdo is a bad thing.
No, not at all.
Just,
it's
weird.
it's. I'd be interested to know like, or maybe I'd be interested to hear maybe what some actors or some of the staff has had to say about him. Like, how much does he have to micromanage to make those things happen? Like, is he fun to work with? Is he a joy or is he a fucking nightmare?
Samuel L. Jackson likes working with him.
Yeah, hey, I mean,
I think you can tell because, like, a lot of really, really good actors will work with him over and over
That's
and
true.
over again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm assuming he can't. Like, there are people that will work with, like, James Cameron one time, and they'll be like, go fuck yourself, dude.
Oh, really? Does he suck?
I mean, I know I'm referring, I guess, specifically to... Oh, what's that shit movie called? Sorry, James Cameron. Deep Blue, maybe. Whatever movie.
Deep Blue Sea?
I don't remember.
With the sharks that like become conscious and attack everyone? It's probably not Deep Blue Sea.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll scratch that.
Yeah, well, no, I gotta look it up. What's the fucking name of that movie? What?
Deep Blue.
Maybe I'm just confusing names. I'm gonna look up ocean movie.
Is it like really well known?
Deep Sea Challenger. The fuck?
The Abyss.
The Abyss?
I don't know. I'm just naming shit.
Perfect Storm. Fuck me. I don't know. But whatever. I guess I was referring specifically to one movie, but I've heard multiple people say like, "Oh, fuck that guy. Like, I'll never work with him." But I'm just saying, I assume that you have to be at least okay to work with if multiple of the best actors in the world will just continually, like, every time you call them, they're like, yeah, for sure, I'll do that.
I wonder too if it's. I mean, and I'm purely speculating. This is more just a fun thought experiment. But like, I wonder if it's because of how good the result is that, like, because they're. I don't know, you think of like chefs are notorious for being assholes in the kitchen, right? They throw plates, they break shit, they yell at you, they scream in your face. But when you make beautiful food in a great dish and you're trained really, really well and you see the result, even through all the shit, when you come out on the other end, you go, oh my God, that was amazing. I learned so much. We made something great. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there. But I've like been around people who have been really successful, like businessmen, and I've worked with them before. And sometimes those people are like, can be nightmares sometimes, or it can be like, difficult to be around, but the result is so good and you see their success and you see that they're micromanaging their meticulousness and how they think. And even though it can be annoying sometimes, like you see how it comes to light and then you go, holy shit, I just want to be around this more. And who knows, like I said, I'm purely speculating, but like, I feel like in order to get something to come to life from your brain and to have everybody on the same page, God, I just don't know how you would have to communicate that and to get that across into like how much like would you have to, and who knows? And that's just probably just, he might just do a good job of communicating. I mean, clearly he does a good job, whatever he's doing. I'm just
that's like
shooting the shit.
That's why I really like the analogy of a director of being like an orchestra conductor.
Yeah.
Because
that's good.
They don't, they're not going down to the first chair violin of the Philharmonic and saying, hey, this is how you should do that vibrato technique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
like,
can't.
That person's a fucking professional. There might be times where you have to be like, hey, for this piece, we're going to do it a little differently than you might be used to for whatever reason, and it's going to sound more like this.
Yeah.
And, you're working with professionals, and okay, we'll do it that way. Or they'll be babies about it, whatever. But, while directors do a lot, I don't think the majority of them I think the really good, I don't want to talk about majorities or pluralities because really I don't know. But I would imagine that the really good ones are good at knowing when to allow professionals to be professionals.
Yeah. This is a weird analogy, but it made me think of football. It's not that weird of an analogy, but it's very specific. So, Dean Pease, who is the defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, who
are trash.
Yeah, but
I went to a Falcons game for the first time in my life last Sunday. They almost got beat by the fucking Lions.
Yeah.
They only didn't because they got an interception when the Lions were on the 9-yard line about to score a touchdown to win the game.
Nice. Yeah, you texted me. You were like, if we're about to lose this game, I swear to God. But he was previously the defensive coordinator for the Patriots way back in the day, and then he worked with Baltimore and maybe Tennessee. But when the Patriots, like, he won some Super Bowls there, and he was saying that the trickiest part of his defense is he wants every player to know what every position is doing and to know the way of thinking. So he's not just going to give them their assignment. He's not just going to look at the cornerback or the linebacker and say, here's what you do on this play. He wants every player to understand the concept of what they're doing, so that way they can improvise and think on their feet to achieve the greater concept of what they're trying to do. And so his job is to communicate that and overload them with information. And he said that the learning process of that is extremely painstaking and brutal, because you have to you're drinking out of a fire hose for the first, I don't know, however long, and you're learning the full concept and way of thinking, so everyone's thinking on the same page to see that bigger vision. And I think that good directors, good bosses, good coaches, for this analogy or whatever, but just in general, good leaders, I think, are able to communicate the vision in a way where if everybody has that, then, like you said, then professionals who are already there for a good reason can then take that vision and make it into something. And, you know, that's, I'm, and he didn't even direct this movie.
No.
But which is kind of funny. But I guess since he wrote it, I mean, since there's clearly a lot of Tarantino in it, but, you know, just this talk leading to Tarantino in general, it's just making me really appreciate him that much more. But yeah, man, I don't know, dude. Okay, so Gabe kicked the mic, but I think, or not the mic, the mouse. Okay, we're good. So, with that being said, I mean, I don't know. We've gone for a little while about Dusk Till Dawn. Anything else that you want to talk about with this movie? Anything else that stuck out that you wanted to hit?
Yeah, I don't know.
Any closing thoughts? Final reviews? Recommendations? Experience? Joy shared?
I mean, I think it's a given that I'll say you should see it.
Yeah.
You should 100% see it. I feel like I've said you should see every movie we've watched except for The Terrifier.
Yeah, that might
I
be
stand
true.
by that. You should never see that movie under any circumstance. Never watch it. God, it's just good. Like, I wish there was an option to see the ending of the first half of that movie. Because I would like to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, I also, yeah. It's really funny. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good, man.
That's my review.
My review is you absolutely should see it. And, you know, I won't speak to anyone who hasn't seen it at this point because that's useless. But if you have seen it and you know someone who hasn't, and especially if you know someone who has no idea what it's about, you should immediately drop everything you do, make plans with that person, and tell them, like, hey, look, we're going to watch this movie. Don't worry about it. And make sure that when because luckily we caught this, but when we rented it from Amazon, there was a synopsis, and in the synopsis it said these bank robbers end up fighting vampires. And I was like, you idiot. Yeah, I swear to God, it said that. That's why I was like, close your eyes. And you like put your arms up. I was like, you can't see this. But I saw that. I saw vampires at the end. I was like, you fucking idiots. Like, don't say that.
That's
like
insane.
Literally, you're ruining.
That would be in the description.
Yeah, you're like
That's
ruining
so
the
wild.
experience by doing that. So yeah, that was silly. But so you should make sure you watch it with someone who's never seen it, and make sure you tell them to look away when you're, renting it if there's a, spoiler. But yeah, definitely see it. It's amazing. It holds up. If you haven't seen it in a long time,
I'm just knocking everything over with
cooking the
feet.
mouse, pausing the podcast, knocking shit. So, okay.
Also, if there's anyone that you really hate that hasn't seen it, ruin it for them.
Yes.
Because that would be a bummer.
That would be a really big bummer.
Yeah.
We'll start it and hype them up, and then about, I don't know, 20 minutes in, say, oh, by the way.
Yeah. Do that to him for sure. Something I was thinking about is
break up with someone like that, ruin the movie, and then say, and by the way, we're done.
Yeah, that would be.
They might actually. Well, I don't know.
Who knows? Something I feel like we're getting to the point where these movies were made long enough ago, like almost 30 years.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean that movie in 26.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
Jesus
Wild.
Christ.
Yeah, 25. But we're getting to the point where like those movies, the ones that like were, a few years old when we started watching movies, are like gonna be way too old for anyone growing up now to have been on their radar. So I'm like, that's just cool. Like if you happen to know younger people, be like, yo, watch The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Or if there's like a snotty little 18-year-old, be like, hey man, Bruce Willis is a ghost. Fuck you. Just ruin that.
I've never seen that movie.
Well.
But it's been ruined since
Bruce Willis is a ghost.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, thanks, man.
Spoiler alert.
No, that one's been spoiled for me for a long time.
You've never seen it?
No, never. Well, because, like, I think when it was in theaters, I heard everyone talk about it, and I was pretty young.
Yeah.
But, like, I've heard people talk about that movie so much that I don't really know anything about it other than the fact that Bruce Willis is a ghost, and that was the big thing. And so, like, and that was what everyone was talking about, so I just never watched it.
Dude, luckily, I saw it when I was pretty young, but luckily, I mean, it wasn't spoiled for me. I mean, it's just like the quintessential plot twist. I mean, it's like perfect. Because it's perfect in the sense. I know now we've talked about so many different things that have nothing to do. If you came here for, what's the name of the movie?
Dusk
Till Dawn. Turn it off. We're done. We've done that. We're finished. I'm just going to keep talking about shit because I feel like it.
We went from, what's your final review? Okay, we're done. Oh, by the way, this.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep talking. Cool. You can cut this out.
Go for it, yeah.
Like when you think of movie twists, you just think, like, it's so ubiquitous. Because it's so, and look, I'm not saying it's highbrow art house film, whatever, but it's so good at that. Because when you rewatch it, you're like, oh, obviously he was a fucking ghost.
But you had no idea first time through.
No clue. And again, cool. I did see it young, so maybe, if you were to watch it as an adult, you might pick up on it. I'm not sure because I haven't ever rewatched it also, which I probably should because it is, well, I don't know if it's a good movie. I saw it when I was really young. But yeah, it's really good.
Have you seen the Book of Eli?
Yes.
Did you like it?
No.
Really? I enjoyed that movie. That was one of those that after I saw it and then I watched it again, I was like, oh yeah.
Oh, the whole him being blind thing?
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah, we're about to spoil. I'm serious. Turn this shit off because we're about to spoil everything you've never seen. Yeah.
Fight Club, Shutter Island, Book of Eli, Sixth Sense.
Shutter Island. My favorite movie to rewatch. It's not as good of a twist as The Sixth Sense because it's just The Sixth Sense is so good because it's so simple, but it just like it nails it.
Yeah.
But a movie that for me is better in terms of like you rewatch it and you can pick up on The Prestige.
Oh yeah,
with Hugh Jackman and
I've only seen that once actually,
bro,
and I
watched that shit.
That's a good movie.
I think that movie is best on about the fourth viewing.
Really?
That's when nothing will ever beat the first time you watch it and you see. Like,
oh, it's great.
Ever like that's obviously whatever. But
no, that movie's really good. It was slept on actually. That's
super slept. I might have seen that movie more than any movie that. Was so I had like a VCR in my room when I was a kid and like 6 VHSs. So I've probably seen The Prestige more than any movie that wasn't one of those 6 VHSs.
Wait, when did that come out? I thought that was like
2006.
Oh wow. Maybe we should review that one. That'd be a fun one.
I could talk about that movie for hours, and I don't need to watch it because I've very much seen it at least 30 times.
Okay,
That's
I'll
not an
rewatch it.
exaggeration.
We'll do that one.
It's so much fun.
Well,
Like the amount of detail that's in it. Well, Christopher Nolan. Okay, I will say this.
okay.
I'm just going.
I know, I'm fading.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I will say that.
I'm in it, man. We've come this far.
You gave me coffee at 1 a.m., so
I did.
I'm not really sure what you were thinking.
Yeah.
I'm saying this because I was going to say it earlier.
I just got Far Cry, by the way. You want to play?
The new one?
Yeah.
There's a new Far Cry?
There is, Far Cry 6.
I didn't know.
Set in the Caribbean. The guy who plays Gus Fring.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I just started. It's
I
pretty
did
good.
know that, yeah.
I'm just saying, we're not doing that tonight. I'm just saying ridiculous things.
Man,
Okay.
you got the Xbox right there. You can go upstairs.
I can show you, yeah. It's pretty cool.
To your point about what you said about Tarantino, I agree. He would be by far the easiest to identify, and you could probably tell any movie that he's been involved in. But I feel like I could maybe do the same thing with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, for sure. He's definitely got a flavor.
But I will say
that's
that
noticeable.
The Prestige would be the one that if I didn't know he was involved, it probably wouldn't be like, oh, this is definitely Christopher. Because it doesn't
funny
have
you say
those...
that because I didn't know that he did Prestige.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's Nolan.
Yeah. Yeah, Slept On, dude. Fucking Slept On. That's a really good one. Okay. What do you think? You good?
Yeah, the only other thing that I want to say...
Fuck.
This is real quick.
Yeah, I know, for sure.
And super unrelated, but I just thought about this because I was thinking about Hugh Jackman. The movie adaptation of Les Mis is terrible.
Les Mis?
Yeah, it's a musical. That's all.
Okay. Well, good to know. All right. That's all we got. That's it for this late night from Dusk Till Dawn podcast. We could just go until dawn.
Dawn.
No, we're not doing that. Okay. Love you guys. See ya. Bye.